Hello everyone, welcome to Red Snapper. My name's MJ and today we're going to talk about the massive problem that Marvel Snap has with Spotlight caches, but it's not all doom and gloom. There is good news on the horizon. We know that Second Dinner are working on card acquisition fixes, and I think the Spotlight caches are going to have a big part to do with that. So I've done loads of research, we're going to go over the numbers, discuss everything, and I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Shout out to snap.fan where I got the information and some of the research tools for this. So the research that I've done, basically I've gone through it. It took bloody ages, to be honest guys, so please drop a like on this video to share your appreciation. That would make me feel like it's all worth it. Anyway, I've gone through every Spotlight cache and marked how long it had been since we last saw the card in a Spotlight cache, and of course there are some cards which haven't even featured in Spotlight caches yet, or have only featured once on their debut. So that's the research that I did. Hopefully I didn't make any mistake. If I made mistakes, they're extremely few and far between, so don't worry. But anyway, this first graph shows the number of weeks since the Spotlight cards last appeared. So if you look at the start of this graph, starts out as 0 weeks since they last appeared, or no data I should say, because Spotlight caches were brand new, so they weren't featured before. But it got to a point where every card being featured had last appeared a number of weeks ago. Now when this started out, this obviously excludes the brand new card for each week. This is just the 2 repeating cards each week, and I've also filtered out the weeks where there were more than 2 cards that were returning. Anyway, so you can see it started off kind of low numbers. It was in like the 15, it was in that like the 8 to 15 week sort of range since the cards last appeared. But as you can see, as we've progressed through time, the length of time has increased, and with the Spotlight leaks that we've seen for January, there's a card in there which has been like a year and a half since it last appeared. Absolute madness. So yeah, this is definitely becoming a problem. It is taking so long for cards to cycle back into Spotlight caches. So if we take that information, that data, and look at the average number of weeks, this is by year. So in 2023, when Spotlight caches began, the average number of weeks was approximately 12. About 12 weeks it would take for a card to rotate back into Spotlight caches. In 2024, that's this year, and it does include, brilliant. Oh, I've just said the wrong word. Yeah. That is the worst song anyone's ever said. This does include the next several weeks worth of Spotlight caches, but you can see the number has risen to like 24, so it's on average basically half a year for your card that you want to rotate back into the store. And if we just look at the leaked data for 2025, which is only January, it's only 1 month, but we see the average has jumped again to something like 33 weeks, which is over a year. And if we extrapolate that data out and consider if it's on the same upward trend, it would actually mean that in the full year of 2025 it would be closer to like 35 weeks, and if that happens again and increases by 2026, we could be looking at like 47 weeks, nearly a full year for cards to rotate back in. So do I think it's going to get to that point? Absolutely not. So what are the most featured cards? X23 has had the most appearances. She has appeared in Spotlight caches 6 times, and that's since August 2023. So that's what, like 14, as of time of recording, it's like 14-15 months, and she's appeared 6 times. It's like every couple of months, basically every couple of months. What, every 3 months she's appearing? So I mean, it's a cool card and it's good that she's appearing a lot, but yeah, it does mean that she has been taking the spots of other cards. And then another one that's been featured a lot is High Evolutionary at 5 appearances since May. So that's a bit more reasonable. That, to be honest, that's almost kind of what I would expect with the number of cards, but because we're getting more cards injected into the game, that is what is pushing some of these times up. I don't know, it's an interesting thing. How much do you balance featuring cards soon after their debut with how many times you've actually featured a card in general? So yeah, it's a difficult thing to balance, and I certainly don't envy Second Dinner for being in this position. But let's look at the least featured cards. This is excluding cards which haven't rotated back into Spotlight caches, which we'll look at next. but some of the least featured cards, this shocked me. I was like, oh my god, my boy Stegron has only appeared once, and he came out like what, well over 18 months ago. My gosh, my poor boy Stegron. I love the move disruption archetype. I love my Scream. That's actually one of my favourite decks, and I do not have a decent Stegron variant. If I knew at the time when he was in Spotlight Caches that I would love him as much, maybe I would have gone for that one. But yeah, I'd love a really nice Stegron variant, but it hasn't happened. But God, let's light a candle for our boy Master Mold. Master Mold came out in March 2023. This is, what, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. Like 20 months, pretty much. 20 months, and Master Mold has only appeared that one time. Crazy. And then Negasonic has also only appeared one time. Martyr has appeared one time as well. So, yeah, absolute madness, guys. But there is a handful of cards that have never appeared. Now, of course, as you look down this list that I've put on screen here, you do see that there are cards like Symbiote Spider-Man and Agent Venom here. Like these cards only came out like a month ago, 2 months ago. So I wouldn't expect cards to really appear quite so quickly. But some of these, like Baron Zemo. Baron Zemo was a Season Pass card 9 months ago and hasn't yet appeared. So if you didn't get the Thunderbolts Season Pass, you're still waiting for that Baron Zemo. Now, of course, you can buy these cards with tokens, but tokens are such a limited resource, especially for free-to-play players. So this is a problem. This is an issue. And you're having to wait 9 months. That is just wild. Also, Blink, like 8 months. Gilgamesh, Gwenpool, these are cards that I also think we should be seeing sooner rather than later. In fact, pretty much all of the seasons from like Eternals and like Deadpool season onwards, we pretty much haven't had rotate back in. Like there's been 1 or 2 here and there, but like cards like Makari and Cersei, we're still waiting to come back in. So yeah, craziness. Like I said though, guys, this is not all doom and gloom. What I wanted to do with this video was just look at the numbers, actually do the proper research and see what is the problem we're actually dealing with here, because I do think that this will be fixed. Second Dinner will fix this. Like, they will fix this. This isn't sustainable. If you look at that chart where we predicted where it could head to in 2026, you know, it isn't sustainable for cards to take a year to become more readily obtainable to players. That just isn't sustainable. So this will be fixed. They've put on their roadmap that card acquisition is a problem that they are going to improve or they're going to solve. So yeah, I do believe that something will happen, and I think it will happen soon. I think it will happen probably early in the new year would be my guess. We have seen things like snap packs leak, like terminology around snap packs, so we don't know what those are going to be, but I think snap packs will be a way to obtain cards. Some of my other thoughts, maybe we'll see more cards featured in Spotlight Caches, and they will increase the frequency with which we receive Spotlight keys. Maybe they'll increase it, like this image that I've put on screen here proposes that maybe there would be 6 cards featured in Spotlight Caches. Maybe in some of these circumstances they would reuse Spotlight variants from prior seasons, because I think this might be a bit too difficult to keep up with the new artwork. Obviously we know how detailed and incredible artwork is in Marvel Snap, and creating the actual cards is a difficult and time-consuming process, so maybe this would be a bit too much to keep up with unless they did re-feature Spotlight variants. I'd be fine with that. I'd also be fine, honestly, if they had as many cards as 6 in each Spotlight week. I would honestly be fine if they featured base cards, if they gave them nice and cool artwork. I think that would be a cool thing. And if you've already got the base card and Spotlight variant, well, yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I don't know. But, of course, if they were increasing this, they would need to increase the number of Spotlight keys that they give us. They probably need to increase it dramatically. One way of doing that could be just like maybe something like a monthly dump of keys. Maybe like once a month you get like 4 keys, as like maybe you get it for completing the season or something like that. And that allows you to really go in heavy and hard on one specific week. And then you could be looking at 6 brand new cards that you'd receive. So, yeah, they could do something like that. Or, as I said, maybe this could be a snap packs thing. We've seen terminology leak around snap packs. We don't know exactly what it could be, but I did do a separate video on that. I think it could feature things like flares or split effects, avatars, variants, but I think cards could be in here as well. In the last several months, we have seen in data mines and leaks extra cards that haven't found their way into seasons. So we saw Lasher leak, which would have thematically worked in the Symbiote season, but he never came out. Similarly, we saw Laufey leak for the, well, that would thematically fit into the War of the Nine Realms season, but he's nowhere to be seen. And similarly, Tombstone for the Spider-Man season. So there's these kind of random cards that fit into seasons, but that we haven't seen yet. I think these could be like a sort of celebration of recent seasons, and these could be cards featured in snap packs, because maybe snap packs could be like a quarterly thing. These are all of the thoughts that I've got percolating. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. If you're new, please subscribe. Let me know your thoughts on this problem. How big of a problem is it? Am I blowing it out of proportion? No, I'm not. But yeah, I'd be interested to hear any converging or convicting opinions. I've made that word up. Don't know what that is. I'll see you next time. Cheers.